Chaz lay in bed. She tossed and turned, unable to sleep. She had to admit that Sean's idea of helping her clear her name was intriguing. It would be worth it just to prove to Devlin that she hadn't betrayed him. If only there wasn't a baby on the way, then it would be very easy to put it all behind her. Welcome back, my friends. I want to thank you all for sticking with me. I also want to encourage you to share this channel with your friends and neighbors. I love bringing these stories to life, and it would mean so much to me to see it grow. So please like, share, and subscribe. Chaz had to face reality. Once Devlin finds out about the baby, he would try to assert his rights. She would just have to keep him in the dark for as long as she could. If he stayed away long enough, it'd be easier to stay away for good. Exactly 1 month later, Sean and Debbie called wanting to come over. He said that he had good news. Chaz was hoping to have the evening to herself because she wasn't feeling well. She was nauseous and had been sick most mornings. This particular morning had been the worst so far. The bell rang and she buzzed them in. Debbie and Sean filed in and shut the door behind them. One look at Chaz and she knew her friend wasn't feeling well. "I can see that you aren't feeling well. Do you want us to leave?" Debbie asked. "No, I'll be fine. Sit and tell me the good news. I could use some cheering up." Sean's friend called and told us that. "Why don't you tell her, darling?" Debbie said. "My contact is a private detective. He was interested when I approached him, and he came through. In a few days, it's all going to hit the fan. Ricardo was working for Ferrantini all along. He and Ricardo had a falling out and left in a huff. Devlin picked him up, and when the show turned out to be a success, Ferrantini made a deal with him. Apparently, they still had a contract, and instead of killing the contract, he decided to continue. He planted the pictures to frame you to give him time to settle with Ferrantini. So now it is a race to see who will come out with the goods first. Devlin just found out and is going through the legal system. He had Ricardo served, and I believe he is trying to figure out a way to apologize to you." "I don't want an apology. I want his head on a platter." My, aren't we being testy?" Debbie said. "That part about Ricardo leaving in a huff sounds like what Devlin told me about him having an affair with a client's wife. I hear he's quite the ladies' man." "So, what's Nicole's part in this?" asked Chaz. Sean shrugged. "As far as my friend could tell, she was just along for the ride. I suspect all she wants out of the deal is Devlin." "Well, she can have him. I don't mean to sound bitter. It's just that from the very beginning, I had always felt that Devlin wasn't over her. We argued about it a lot, and he kept assuring me that I was imagining it." "So why are you having his baby?" Sean asked candidly. "I've always wanted children, and it's not just his baby, it's mine too." "Okay, do you want to do anything legally? Maybe sue his pants off?" Sean asked with a smile. Chaz shook her head. "I'll probably read about it in the papers, and he'll try to make some sort of gesture, and then he'll go on with his life, and I'll go on with mine." "Chastity Michaels, don't you dare sit there and play it off that you don't care. You still love the man, and I think you should fight for him," Debbie cried. "Get thee behind me, Satan," Chaz declared, warding her off. "I think you should make him fight for you. You have everything he's going to want," added Sean. "I think you both should go home now." Chaz stood and led them to the door. "Still, it's something to think about," Debbie said at the door. It was another month before the whole mess got sorted out. Ricardo was ordered to give Devlin the designs and pay a fine to get out of his contract. It was a much publicized event since it involved Devlin Wade, whom a year ago was in court. Not a word was mentioned about her supposed involvement. Chaz hasn't heard a peep out of him, and she was dreading it because her pregnancy was more pronounced. It was noticeable enough that Chaz decided to have a staff meeting to tell her staff. She was almost 5 months along, and her staff supported her. She could still hide her belly depending what she wore. What was more apparent was her overall plumpness. After the meeting, she told Debbie that she was going home. Chaz couldn't find a parking space near her building and had to walk. Thank goodness she'd worn her heavy coat. It was February and very cold. As she neared her building, she noticed a figure near the entrance and slowed her pace. There had been some trouble in the neighborhood lately, so she wanted to be careful. The man standing near the entrance was Devlin. Of all the people in the entire world, he was the last person she wanted to see. If she kept calm, she could probably get rid of him, she thought. She unlocked the door and waited. She didn't want him in her apartment. Aren't you gonna go up? It's cold, he said. I would prefer if you said what you came to say to me in the lobby, she said coldly. He followed her into the lobby and she turned to face him. I suppose you've heard what happened? I can't imagine anyone who hasn't. I came to apologize for what happened. I don't know what else to say other than I am truly sorry. I know it seems lame, but there it is. I've wanted to come before today, but I didn't know how to face you. There is no excuse for the way I behaved, and for the life of me, I can't explain it either. I know that I deserve your contempt, but I hope you'll forgive me in time. Devlin stood there watching her. She didn't blink, and she didn't have any expression on her face. Is that all? She asked him. Yes, Chastity, that's it. Thank you for coming by, and even though I really don't give a damn, it took some courage for you to admit that you were wrong. I thought honesty and integrity was part of our relationship, but I guess that was all me. I treated you with the utmost respect, and you were ready to destroy me. I can't imagine you'll ever understand how deeply hurt I've been. Anyway, I hope you have a nice life, Devlin. I don't know if I'll ever forgive you, but I wish you well. Chaz turned away and pushed the elevator button. He didn't try to follow her, and when she got in, she leaned against the wall when the door closed. She hoped it was the last time she'd see him. It was going to be one of those nights, she thought as she brought up her dinner. Wasn't this supposed to happen only in the morning? And whoever thought up that cracker bit was wrong too. Nothing worked. She was nauseous all the time. Devlin got home and was beside himself with loathing. How could he have been so naive? Did he think that Chastity was going to melt at his feet and take him back? She was right all along, and he'd refused to listen to her. She tried to warn him about Ricardo and Nicole, but he thought she was just acting like a jealous girlfriend. He hadn't seen her in over 5 months, and he thought she looked different, but he couldn't pin it down. Something had changed about her. He poured himself a drink and sat down. On the sofa, Chaz helped him pick out and watch the fire she loved so much. For the past few months since he'd realized what was going on right under his nose, he'd done nothing. Now he's lost her for good. She was cold and detached when she spoke to him, like she'd completely buried her feelings for him. There has got to be a way to have another chance with her. He could be just as stubborn as she, and he wasn't going to give up so easily. He knew she wouldn't come to him, but however long it took, he was going to get his woman back, and he's going to make it stick. He was going to marry her. The next morning, Devlin awoke cheerful for the first time in months. His head was full of plans. Chaz awoke and went into work. It had been hard to be cheerful in the morning, but today she was feeling good. Debbie was on the phone, and she waved cheerfully at her. Debbie came into the office and smiled nervously at her. Are you feeling all right this morning? Yes, for the first time in weeks, I am feeling great. I don't even care that you were on the phone talking nonsense with Sean. So go back to your desk and get that paperwork you've been holding back, and let me tackle them. On Chastity's next obstetrician's appointment, Dr. McMaster had given her instructions for a sonogram. Chas had a full bladder, but the discomfort was worth it. She came away with a little picture of what her baby looked like. The best part was that she knew what sex her baby was. The following day, she showed off the picture but kept the gender to herself. It was Friday and she was feeling lazy. New York was wonderful in the spring. The trees were green again and the air was balmy. She was 8 months along and was doing great. Debbie had helped her plan the nursery and everything was waiting for her baby's arrival in roughly 3 to 4 weeks' time in June. Chastity parked the car and carefully got out. She was big as a house, and she had pushed the seat as far as it could go for comfort. The whole world came crashing down around her when she spotted Devlin getting out of his car. He walked over to her and took her elbow. He stood patiently while she fumbled with the keys and continued to hold on to her in the elevator. He released her arm only after they were both safely inside the apartment. Okay, family, how many of you thought Devlin was going to find out eventually? How many of you thought he didn't deserve to know? Write in the comments below to tell me. Let's continue with the story. He stood there watching as she removed the light jacket she had on. She sat on a high stool by the sofa and waited on him. When were you going to tell me, Chastity? He asked. His voice sounded rough, and his eyes held something she couldn't name. I thought it would be sometime between when hell froze over and never, Devlin. I didn't see the need. The look she gave him told him that she was ready for a fight. I have a right to know. I had to pry it out of Debbie, who, by the way, stripped all kinds of layers off my hide. She happens to think that I should have a part in my child's life. Apparently, she hadn't done enough of a good job. You're still alive. No, I don't think you should have any part of my baby's life. I don't need or want anything from you. So just go back to your fashions and your designs, and more importantly, Nicole, just go away. Devlin stared at her and couldn't say anything. She looked wonderful. She was even more beautiful pregnant. That was their child she was carrying, and he had let her down. She had every right to kick him out of her life, but he couldn't let her do that. She just had to listen to what he had to say. Chaz, please listen to me. I know you are justified in what you are feeling. I have no excuse. And I know that I've hurt you. All I can say is that I'm sorry. I've been through hell and back because, through it all, I've never stopped loving you. I hurt you, but I've hurt myself more. Every time I came to you during those last few months and said those awful things, I was stabbing myself in the heart. I know more than you'll ever know how much I've hurt you. And now to find out that while I was doing it, our child was growing inside you, I could just die, Chastity. Chas slid off the stool and held up her hand for him to stop. Don't say another word. I want you to leave now. I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but I'm not interested. Can't you see that I'm not up to it? Yes, I'm pregnant, and yes, I chose not to tell you, because how could I tell you when you were hell-bent on making me out to be a thief? You've got to go. The tears she hadn't cried all this time came gushing out. Please, Devlin, just go now, she sobbed. Devlin went to her and tried to put his arms around her, but she pushed him away. She looked wild, and he was afraid she would hurt herself. He put his hands up and stepped back. Chaz, please stop crying. I'll go, but you'll have to understand that I can't let you have my baby without me. I'll be coming to check on you. I'll be back. Chastity cried until she could cry no more. Then she started all over again when Debbie showed up babbling about Devlin coming to her house, crazy with worry for her. I've never seen a man so worked up. Sean and I thought he was going to have a heart attack. I told him that I would come check on you, and I see that you aren't doing any better. What did he say to you? It's all your fault. I told you that I wasn't going to tell him. Now he wants to look in on me, she said, trying to mimic him. Debbie tried not to laugh but failed, and she apologized. You should see your face, Chaz. Anyway, I did warn you what would happen when he found out. And seriously, Chaz, he's still in love with you. And I know you feel the same. I don't know how I feel, Debbie. I thought Devlin was the man of my dreams, my knight in shining armor. I didn't expect to be hurt, nor did I expect to be an unwed mother either. Not that being unwed bothers me a lot. I just can't get over him coming to those conclusions about me. A man has to be pretty paranoid to fly off the handle like that. I mean, I have a business too, and I know that I wouldn't accuse him of sabotage or theft. Well, now you know that he's not perfect, and he's a little unstable when it comes to his business. And you, my dear, aren't perfect either, Miss Control Freak, Debbie pointed out. Go home, Debbie. I want to be alone. My back is killing me, and I want to lie down. Go on. I'll talk with you in the morning. By morning, Chaz felt better. She called Debbie, and after that she made another call. She knew she had a lot of thinking to do, and she wasn't going to get much of it done here. She had to get away for a few days. Her parents have a beach house in California they sublet, and it took her a while before she could get hold of the agent handling the property. By Monday, she got her answer. She was on maternity leave, and Debbie wouldn't be bothering her. On Wednesday, she was on a flight. Her doctor advised her to see a doctor as soon as she arrived. By the next afternoon, Chaz was well on her way of getting the house cleaned. She hired a service. The house was the same. Over the years, the furniture changed, but it was still the same house she'd spent summers in. She ordered groceries and had it delivered. She didn't do anything that would harm her child. It was nice to just relax. No one knew where she was, and that's just the way she wanted it. She could think in peace and maybe come to terms with letting Devlin have some say in their child's welfare. That was all she was ready to deal with right now. These days, it was difficult to find a comfortable position to sleep in, and the couch, to her surprise, was comfortable. She put her feet up and lay against the cushions. Taking a look around, she realized that a lot of the furniture had been recycled from their home in New York. On the walls were landscapes from her father's office. She felt comforted. Devlin was beside himself with worry. Where could she have gone? Debbie was worried too, and if she was worried, she didn't know where Chastity was. Sean reasoned that she wasn't in any danger and was probably somewhere away from all of them. Devlin didn't like the sound of that. It meant she was running away from him. According to Debbie, Chaz was mere weeks from delivering. She shouldn't be alone, he thought. We've got to find her. Are you sure you don't know anything? He asked Debbie for the 100th time. She's on maternity leave. I haven't seen her. No, wait. I got a call at the club 2 days ago from a realtor about getting a beach house ready. I gave him her cell phone number. Oh my God, she's in California. All I want is to be in my child's life. I want to marry her too. Is it safe for her to fly? I don't know, and if I know anything about my friend, she'll probably stay until she gives birth, Debbie said. I can access the club's line from home. Let me see if I can get the realtor's number. Chastity awoke feeling a cramp in her legs. She stretched and opened her eyes. It took her a few minutes to reorient herself. Slowly, she got up to shower and dress. She went out for breakfast, and when she returned, she changed into a pair of shorts and t-shirt. It had gotten cooler, and she decided to go sit on the beach. She carried a cooler of fruit juices and sat in the lounger she dragged behind her and closed her eyes. Devlin was nervous all of the sudden. All through the flight, he hadn't given a thought to what he'd say to her. Now that he was there at her doorstep, he hadn't a clue. He squared his shoulders and rang the bell and waited. After 5 minutes, he began to bang on the door. If you're looking for the lady, she's on the beach, a female voice called out to him. Devlin turned and looked around before spotting the woman sitting on a deck chair across from the house. A pregnant lady? He asked. Uh-huh, she answered. Thanks, I appreciate it. Chaz smiled because the beach wasn't crowded yet. It was still early. She had a clear view of the ocean and of the few surfers. She was reminded of her time on the beach. Her parents had been very strict about associating with the celebrity kids. She remembered the wild beach parties she wasn't allowed to attend. She laughed at that. Devlin froze when Chaz laughed. He was standing behind her and was terrified. She sounded so peaceful and she looked relaxed. He hadn't heard her laugh like that in a long time. If he could give her anything, it would be many opportunities to laugh like that. You know, Devlin, I can smell your cologne. You can't sneak up on me, she said suddenly and twisted her head around to see him. You can smell my cologne? He asked incredulously. Yeah, one thing about pregnancy is that the sense of smell sharpens. I thought I might have gotten at least a day or two before someone tracked me down, she said. She gestured for him to sit beside her. Devlin dropped his bag and sat down on his haunches. You aren't mad? Chaz chuckled. I'm livid. I just wanted a few days to myself where I could relax and get things into perspective. It seems that I'm not going to get that chance. Do you want me to leave? That's entirely up to you. I came here to think about you, and presto. Here you are. I have a spare bedroom you can use if you care to stay, Chaz said by way of invitation. I'd like that. Why were you laughing? Chastity smiled. I was thinking of the summers I spent here growing up. Back then, there were quite a few celebrity families living around here. My parents used to warn me not to spend time with them. Out of defiance, I went down when they were having a party. I wore the only bikini they allowed me to have. I had the worst time. I didn't know anyone, and they ignored me. He sat there watching her watch the ocean. How could he convince her to give him another chance? Chas, I'd like us to talk. I can listen since you came all this way. I don't know about you, but this sun is really hot. Could we maybe go up to the house where it's cooler? Chaz nodded and wriggled out of the chair. She asked him to carry it and tried to take his bag, but he said he could carry both. She showed him where to put it on the balcony and entered the house. Chaz disappeared into the kitchen and came back with 2 glasses of lemonade. She handed him one and sat down on a straight-back chair to sip on hers. Devlin was nervous and tried to gather his thoughts, buying time. He pretended to study the paintings on the walls, moving from one to the other. From what he could see of the house, it was very nice. Sit down, Devlin. There is a lot to say, and frankly, my neck is killing me, watching you flit all over the place. Devlin grinned and sat across from her. I know I've apologized before, but I can't say it enough. Chastity, I am so sorry. I guess I really upset you the other night when I came to your place. I was angry and in shock to find that all this time you were carrying our child, and I didn't know. I was confused too, and desperate to get you to agree that I have a part in our child's life. My father and I never had the type of relationship normal to fathers and sons, and I didn't want that for my own son or daughter. Can you understand that? Yes, I can, Devlin. I was thinking that I didn't want my child to grow up without love or a parent he couldn't respect. So yes, Devlin, I understand very well. She wasn't playing fair, he thought. Sean and Debbie have been very sympathetic, and they've given me the courage to follow you across the country. They believed me when I told them that I loved you and wanted to marry you. Do you know how much I love you? Devlin asked desperately. Should I remind you how you showed that love, Devlin? When I tried to tell you that things weren't right, that Nicole and Ricardo were up to something, you chalked it up to jealousy. I could never have betrayed you like that. I loved you. You never asked me if I took those pictures. You accused me of taking them. What about now? Do you love me now? He asked quietly. Chastity couldn't answer just yet. Do you think those words have any meaning for me? How can I trust that if something else happens to your business, that you won't turn on me again? I'm not Nicole. She was the one who tried to take your business when she took you to court. Answer those questions for me, Devlin. Make me understand why you could believe such dreadful things of me. There's not much I can say in my defense other than that I was a fool. I was a fool to allow Nicole and Ricardo to manipulate me into thinking you were the villain. I believed them because you hadn't shown any interest in what I was doing. You were right about them, and I wish I'd listened to you. He approached her and took her hands in his. Chaz, can you find it in your heart to forgive me? Why should I? We can solve this situation right now. You want visitation rights and say in the baby's life? Fine. I won't stand in your way when it comes to the child. As for another chance or forgiving you, I don't know if that's possible now. Devlin gave her a quick smile. I'll accept your offer if you answer this one question for me. I asked you if you still love me, and you've dodged it with the reasons you shouldn't. Do you still love me? This was the moment she'd been dreading. It was a question she's asked herself countless times since she found out she was pregnant. Could she so easily have put aside her feelings because she got hurt? One thing Chaz had realized was that she was deeply afraid. Devlin hadn't said anything about Nicole not being in his life. He only admitted that she was right about her. Until he realized that Nicole was a real threat, their love was going to feel it. She walked over to him and cupped his face. The answer was never an issue, Devlin. I don't know why, but yes, I still love you, Chaz admitted sadly and dropped her hands. Devlin wanted to break something. Why was she sad if she loved him? Chaz gathered the glasses and went into the kitchen. He followed her. The kitchen was big and had black appliances. He walked over to the table and sat down at the round table. He could tell that she was aware of him, and he wanted to hold her, but he didn't dare. So where does that leave us, Chastity? Together but separate. We will raise the baby but live apart, she told him, wiping her hands on a paper towel. That doesn't make any sense. I won't agree to that. Tough, Chaz said calmly. She stood up and left him there. He got up quickly to follow her and caught her arm. She pulled away from him and tried to go into a room he supposed was a bedroom, but he stopped her from entering it. What do you mean by tough? He asked. Chastity felt trapped. She couldn't stand him being so close. If he touched her, she would throw up. Liar, her heart said. You've missed his arms around you. Just what I said. I won't marry you. We can raise the baby together, and that's all I'm willing to concede. That's not acceptable, Chastity. This isn't a business transaction, and it's not a contest, he said, pulling her close. Why are you putting all these obstacles between us? Honey, you just admitted that you still love me. Why are you pushing me away? Devlin held her face in his hands, threw caution to the wind, and swooped down to kiss her. Chastity was trying to prepare herself for his kiss since she first caught his scent on the beach. God, she missed his lips. The fight slowly eased away and she reached up and held on to him. The world became solid again. Then she pushed him away. Let me go, Devlin. No, I can't. Tell me you didn't enjoy the kiss. You kissed me too. Tell me you didn't enjoy it, he pleaded. No, I mean, yes. I did enjoy it because I couldn't help it. I love you, Devlin, but admitting it doesn't make things better. So please let me go. Once the tears started, she couldn't stop them. That was another thing about being pregnant. She cried easily. Devlin didn't know what to do, so he held her. He wished there was something he could say or do, but in the end, it was up to her, he realized. Honey, tell me what you want me to do. I can't stand to see you hurting anymore. Chastity looked at him and saw how sincere he was. He needed to make the choice himself. He needed to cut Nicole out of his life, his business. He had to know that. I'm tired and I want to take a nap. I want you to remove Nicole from your life. She's going to continue to come between us if you don't. You think about it. If you do that, then I'll think about marrying you. Chastity pushed him out of the room and closed the door. Devlin left her to rest. What did she mean by remove Nicole? Nicole had nothing to do with them. That nonsense in Paris was nothing. He hadn't talked with her in months, not since the court thing with her cousin. Chastity didn't know what she was talking about. He'll let her rest and tell her. Chaz awoke a few hours later. She got up to get some water and wandered around to find Devlin asleep in the spare bedroom. She watched him sleep, noting the dark circles under his eyes. He'd come all this way to try to convince her that he loved her. She appreciated that, but she won't commit to him if Nicole was still in the picture. Devlin must have felt her staring. He opened his eyes and smiled at her. You are more beautiful now than you ever were. She smiled back. Flattery will get you everywhere. He sat up and patted the space next to him. She sat and waited. What you said about Nicole isn't true. I haven't spoken with her since the court thing with Ricardo. She's not what I want. You are. Marry me, Chaz. I won't marry you looking like this. We can do it after the baby's born, she told him. Devlin kissed her and then scooted off the bed. He went to rummage through his bag and came away with a small velvet box. He opened it and then fell to his knees. Chastity, I love you and I want to make a life with you, and I want us to raise our child together. Please say you'll marry me. Yes, Devlin. I'll marry you after the baby is born. Devlin slid the ring onto her finger and closed his hand tightly over it. You can't change your mind, Chaz. I love you and I want the rest of my life to love you. Okay. Okay. Yes. Now I need you to help me make dinner. I'm starving, and if I don't eat something, your daughter is going to make my night miserable, she said. We're having a daughter? I bet she's going to be as beautiful as you. Chaz chuckled. We'll see. Now move. I'm serious about eating. Together they roasted some steak and vegetables. Devlin watched her eat with awe. Have you been eating like this all along? He asked, looking at her plate. Yeah, and I can't help it. I just hope I can lose the weight once she's born. Chaz looked down at her hand and chuckled to herself. What was that for? He asked, pleased that she was happy. Debbie is going to lose her mind, she said simply. Why? It's bigger than hers. Devlin chose to ignore that. After dinner, they went to sit on the balcony. The ocean air washed over them, and Chaz sighed. In the morning after breakfast, Chaz told Devlin that she had made her return reservation for the following morning, and that her doctor had advised her to get checked before the flight back. Hey, are you okay? Yeah, the doctor just wants to make sure I can travel back safely. The cab ride to the nearest hospital was 15 minutes, and she was seen right away. Devlin sat in the waiting area feeling helpless. Chaz came out of the exam room with a smile on her face. She assured him that their daughter was doing fine and she could travel. Sean and Debbie were happy for the couple and insisted on coming over to talk. When they arrived, Chaz was in the bedroom taking a nap. He told them that Chaz wanted to wait until after the baby came to marry him. I don't blame her. I wouldn't want to walk down the aisle wearing a dress that looked like a tent either, said Debbie. Chaz appeared 20 minutes later looking rested. I suppose Mr. Macho here was too nervous to stay with me by himself, she commented. I confess I would have done the same, Sean said. How are you feeling? Chaz sat on the arm of the chair beside Devlin. I think that before the night is out, we'll be on our way to the hospital. I've started labor, she said calmly. What? They all asked in unison. Chaz put up a hand. I don't think we need to go now, but I'm sure this is it. Devlin jumped up and went to help her sit properly on the couch. He put her feet up and asked if she needed anything. Debbie knelt beside her and grabbed her hand. Leave it to Chaz to be the calm one. Are you sure? Didn't you say you weren't due for another week? I thought so too, but I can't answer for the baby. A week isn't that early. I already called the doctor, and she said that I shouldn't panic. She said to wait until the contractions were regular before coming in. Have you been keeping track of the contractions? Asked Debbie, looking at the time on her phone. Yes, I've only had one in an hour. Then she explained how they should come. 12 hours later, Chastity delivered a 7-pound, 12-ounce baby girl. She was feisty and cried almost immediately. Devlin stayed with her throughout the whole thing. Then the doctor asked him to leave. He left to go spread the news. The moment he reached the waiting room, Debbie pounced on him, demanding to know how things were going. Did she deliver yet? Devlin was grinning from ear to ear. Yes, we have a beautiful baby girl. She's so tiny and beautiful and perfect. Chaz was so brave, and I had better sit down before I fall down. That was the most precious thing I've ever witnessed, Devlin said. His color was coming back now that he'd sat down for a bit. We'll be able to see her soon, right? Asked Sean. Yes, they are just finishing up with both of them. Congratulations again. How do you feel? You were looking a bit green when you came out here, teased Sean. I'm great. I didn't even think of getting cigars. Debbie laughed. Don't be too hard on yourself. The staff had a baby shower planned for next week. How do you think they're going to feel? It doesn't matter. The important thing is Chastity and the baby are fine. The shower and cigar passing can come later, Sean said. Devlin stood up, testing his legs, and nodded to himself. Let me go check to see if we can see them. Chastity looked drawn and tired. He sat on the edge of the bed and held her hand. Hi, Chaz said. Hi, I know you're tired and I know you need to rest, but I wanted to tell you how much I love you and how honored I feel to have witnessed the birth of our child. I love you too. Could you tell the others to come in quickly before I fall asleep? I know they stayed the whole time. Debbie and Sean were admiring the baby in the nursery. He told them that they could see Chaz. He allowed them 15 minutes to say their congratulations and then ushered them out. He came back to let Chaz know that he'd be back later, but she was sound asleep. The next few days were full of activity for Devlin. With help from Sean and Debbie, they transformed Devlin's guest bedroom into a nursery. Everything Chaz had done at her apartment was transferred over. When Chaz and the baby were discharged, he drove them straight to his house. Chaz didn't argue and hoped things worked out. Their daughter was what was most important now. That first week of feedings and diaper changes allowed Devlin to fully appreciate and respect motherhood. Even with his help, Chaz hardly rested. 3 weeks in, Devlin had to go into the plant and assured her that it would only be for a few hours. Debbie promised to stop by after work. Chaz insisted that she was fine. Baby Rachel was a pleasure to care for, even when she fussed. She had to be held a certain way, and since she was on breast milk exclusively, Chaz was busy. That afternoon, Rachel was upstairs in her room napping, and Chaz had a moment to herself. The doorbell rang and she hurried to answer it, fearful that it might wake the baby. Chaz opened the door to Nicole. Both women froze. Neither was expecting each other. Okay, now things are getting interesting. How many of you knew Nicole was going to make an appearance? Let me know what you'd do in her place, or what you'd do if you were Nicole. Tell me, I truly want to know. Nicole entered without being invited. She walked right in. Chaz followed with a frown. Hello, Ms. Michaels, Nicole began. Hello. If you are here to see Devlin, he's not here, Chaz told her, surprised that her voice sounded normal. Actually, I'm here to see you. I wanted to see for myself. Devlin mentioned in passing that you had moved in with him. I wanted to let you know that you haven't won him yet, and don't think I don't know about the engagement. You must understand that he feels trapped because of the child. You couldn't possibly make him happy. You don't know anything about his business, and I do. He still comes to me and values my opinion. I'm willing to accept that he has to care for the child, but I will not stand for you to continue to live in this house with him. Take the baby and I promise. You promise what? Devlin said from behind Chastity. Devlin emerged from the dining room where he had been standing and listening. Nicole tried to smile and failed. Her lips twitched but said nothing. She could only stare at him. Then she seemed to recalibrate and smiled confidently. Devlin, darling, I was just trying to make her see that she is making a mistake. She stood tall and tossed her hair. Did you think you could come to our home and try to stab me in the back again? Devlin asked her. Then he turned to Chaz. Honey, is there anything you want to say to Nicole before she leaves? Chaz faced the pale woman. I'd like you to understand that this is the only chance I will give you to disrespect me. The next time I see you again, I will introduce you to a whole other side of me. Devlin then marched toward Nicole and grabbed her none too gently by the elbow and escorted her out, all the while telling her what he thought of her, and if she didn't stay away from his family, that he would take her to court like she did to him. He came back after slamming the door. He then turned and slammed his fist into it. Chaz jumped. "Don't do this to yourself," Chaz said gently. She took his arm and turned him to face her. She was concerned and paled at the sight of his hand. He clasped her tightly to him. "I'm sorry, I didn't believe you about her. I'm so angry with myself for allowing this to happen. You were right about her all along." Chaz looked at the door and saw the splintered wood and winced. "Come, let's take care of your hand." She led him to the sink and gently ran warm water on his hand. "Honey, I don't want you to blame yourself because I don't think Nicole is important enough to merit it. She isn't worth turning your hand into hamburger." His knuckles were scraped, but it wasn't serious. She put on some ointment and a couple of Band-Aids. She led him into the living room and asked him to sit. "She lost you and she's sorry. I get that she hasn't gotten over you. You, however, must follow through with cutting her off. If you have any business with her, it must end now because what I said to her wasn't an idle threat." Chaz sat down next to him and held his injured hand. "Did you see the look on her face? I thought she was going to pass out," Devlin asked, laughing. "Why did you come through the back?" "I saw her car in the drive and I thought it'd be wise for me to catch her red-handed. I still can't believe she had the gall to come here and say those things to you. I haven't spoken to her since that fiasco with Ricardo." Rachel was 3 months old when her parents married in a small church. There they celebrated their love for each other. Sean and Debbie stood with them. Devlin's sister and a few friends witnessed their vows. Well, that's it, my friends. Comment which moment grabbed you the most and tell me honestly if you would have wanted it differently. Please help me grow this channel by liking, sharing, and subscribing.